I tell people about bird singing is that those songs that we sing are about a celebration of life and a journey that we take. A journey with the beginning of the sun to the ending of the day.
What I've learned and what I've dreamt are 5 spirits that come out and dance. When I dance, they're the ones that are dancing, and I'm just, doing the motions.
The belief that we have as Native, as Hualapai people, that these songs were given to you. They were given for you to carry the people on. That's how it was meant to be.
I looked at the universe, and we have a song about a star. Then we have songs about how them stars got there from the animals. And when I thought about it, I said, our spirit lives in the universe. So those bird songs will tell you exactly the secrets of the universe, but it'll also tell you the secret of life.
And they're all sitting there ready to sing, and he says, "Hey, Ivan, what is that?" And I go, "What?" He's like, "Can you hear that noise?" And then pretty soon they can see the people, "Hey, look, what's that?" "I don't know, man. You guys are seeing things, man. You're hearing things." I couldn't hear it. I said, they're talking. They're singing. Okay.
McCord goes with me wherever I go. They well get it and get it going, and they just tell me that and I start singing. And I mean, it's good. I enjoy singing bird, even though my songs are a little different because I learned from like the elders, like I said, and it's kind of different from what they're singing now, and I always want to just keep it that way.
For some reason, we were told that it was bad to sing those songs. And that only people who are pure blood or who are chiefs, who are shaman, who are medicine man can sing songs like this. Because in the past, just from my own research, by listening to the people, we used to have singers in every family. And every family would teach each generation.
My memory of the songs was when my mother would sing songs, while she's cooking or something, and I could hear her, and when she said, "This is a song, this is a bird song," she would tell me and tell me what it's talking about, And I would. That was my first teaching, was when I was a young boy, when I heard her singing, and she said, "This is what that song is saying."
This is something that is given to you. It's not something that you would want to be. It's something that is given to you by the Creator. We call him Bakyoba. He is the one that offers that to you. He's the one that gives you what we call the medicine.
Throughout your life, you're continuing to catch that sequence of the songs, of the cycle of from the night, going from the beginning to the night and to midnight and the early morning, and you end in the morning. And I think one of the responsibilities is learning to catch all those songs, throughout your life. And it seems like it's a lifelong learning.
I just sit back and just, just glad at heart that the young kids are starting to learn and join in with singing, and that took me back.
Or past midnight, kind of like about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's a song that talks about the Milky Way. It's kind of like the song, like there's other words besides what the song is saying. There's another part of it that is telling you, it's almost just like a photograph. And if most of the time we're singing inside, and all you do is you picture the Milky Way as it comes down low, and that song is saying that the Milky Way is kind of taking up your the prayers or the song or the spirit, or maybe something that you don't want to exist within yourself, or it might be something bad, like maybe a sorrow or a pain, that it's saying that the Milky Way is coming down low now, and it's kind of getting ready to take all those things out of the way, so that the path is kind of more clear.
Think about it. It's just the way of life. We grow up listening to it. It's our rap music. It's our rock and roll music. It's our country music. That's what Bird is to me.
There are hundreds of individual bird songs used in the sunset to sunrise cycle. The songs are thousands of years old and take examples from the natural world, stories of animals, their movements, bird migration, and the forces of the universe. The leader controls the timing, pace, and rhythm of the song. He picks the song and begins it by starting his rattle, and always finishes with the same standard coda.
I think I was sitting on the back tailgate of an old Ford truck, probably like 4 or 5 years old, and my grandfather Hubert McCord would sing. I didn't know what the songs were then.
I just got it in my Got everything in my heart that I would dance my heart out to anything.
It empowers the youth, especially when they can go out there and sing a song and know what they're singing. You know, it gives them a sense of identity.
If you got the urge to get up and dance, whether you do or not know how to dance, get up and do it anyway. You know, again, from the heart.
You know, we are losing our culture, and you know, if we lose our culture, you know, who are we to say that we are? And how can I say that I'm a hobby if I don't even know my own culture?
Because you see one bird singing somewhere all by himself, and before you long, you got a whole flock of birds coming and making a lot of noise. Well, that's just the impression how bird singing goes. You know, one person can start. Before you know, you got a whole group of young men, young women, old women, you know, old men singing and dancing and whatever. But that's just an imitation of a bird.
Learning is a never-ending process, you know, and you know, I know that there are some elders out there that are apprehensive, and I can understand, you know, being scared of who to trust. The young people, they're here and they have a lot of heart, and I think that if they just, you know, that if we took the time to get to know each other more, they'll be able to see that passion of wanting to learn.
As time goes by, you know, we don't really understand, the younger people don't understand their language, so I guess they're missing out on most of the meaning of the songs.
There's a lot of elders saying we were learning the wrong way and this and that. But I was told there's no right or wrong way. I mean, if it was in your heart to sing, and then you had it.
Running amongst each other and doing crazy things, and it created a situation for us to get away from everything, you know, to get out of town and meet new people while learning our tradition.
Yeah, I'd like to see it continued on in a big way. I'd like to see more kids get together without fighting, arguing, and just do what they got to do for the people. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, you know, you have different teachers, you have different people's opinions on things, and you know, you're not supposed to be this way, you're not supposed to be that way, you're supposed to do this. So, you know, you just take it and make your own without getting anybody mad.
And the newest thing that ever came up is the bird dancing contests. You know, we all want to see who outdoes one another, or outdoes this person or that person. So I believe that's what draws us.
My favorite thing about Bird is how we get together, sing all night, all day, and just have fun. See everybody dance.
You meet a lot of people that are in the same boat as you, and it's a good place to go to where, like, okay, good job, no, you good job. You know, giving support to one another, people who have that same passion that you have.
That's why I sing Bird, so we can feel inside the connection I have with the people that are out there dancing, with the men, or with the guys standing next to me in the line. Just the energy that the people feel.
And that's the main thing. Make people want to get out there and dance. I know other people are saying, "No, you're not supposed to do this," but hey, we're there celebrating.
Bird songs are social and celebratory and are sung on many occasions. When men and women dance together, they form opposing lines, and the lead singer directs the pace of the group by his rattle rhythms and movements. The men and women move in unison, mimicking the movement of birds. During the duration of the songs, anyone who knows the dance can join the movement of the group. The singers and dancers encourage everyone to join.
Well, it was handed down through my elders that one day I'd have to step up and sing these songs, and it was happy for me to ask me, and so I stepped up and became part of it, and that's all I do today is sing birds all over for the people and for the kids in school.
When they twirl that gourd, that's our heartbeat. That's what makes us. The song, you hear the song, you know the song, but the twirl and the beat of that gourd, of those beads, that's what makes that heartbeat for us. That's what makes our heart soar, our spirit soar to wanna dance that song.
But then there's those times when all of a sudden everything comes together. Everybody harmonizes really well. Everybody's on the same beat. And you kind of feel, something cool happening.
It's helped me in a lot of ways. It's kept me focused when your mind wanders and you do other things that you're not supposed to be doing. Bird brings you back to the traditional way of life and brings you back in order, makes you centered.
I dance because it's part of who I am, my tradition, my culture, and it brings a joy in my life. And I just feel that it's who I'm supposed to be.
And keep the tradition up and learn the songs and learn them the right way. Because some people, they sing the songs, they'll skip a verse in it, they'll skip a word in it, and it's really not really the song. You have to really understand the song and keep it and sing it the right way.
Because we live here by the city, it's easy to get involved in that. But when they hear this and they feel it and they hear the stories behind it, then they know, and it makes them feel good, of participating.
I don't remember the first time, but I just remember after a while being out there dancing and listening to the rhythm, learning, trying to get the beat.
My mom and dad didn't raise us traditionally. My mom learned when she was younger, and for whatever reasons why she did that, I don't know. But I always wanted to learn, and so my upbringing was a lot different from other natives. So I, as an older and adult, I decided I want to learn my heritage.
what Bird does for people, I guess what I'm trying to say is it was kind of like almost like its own educational system. Now we have schools and universities and that kind of stuff, but at one time people could learn their entire history through singing and dancing, and the history was a part of your body, it was a part of the song, part of the dance, part of everything.
When I was growing up, birds were really focused, and it was really solid functions that they had, and it was more spiritual than it is today, because today the kids are just learning from what they know. They just haven't really learned from the elders, because most of the elders are gone.
We're not like these ones that come to powwows and dance for contests and dance just to show. That's part of us. So my tribute is to do the best I can to be an example for some of these young girls and show them how I was taught.
From the heart means from inside of you, from your inside, from your soul, I guess. It comes from deep inside a person to sing bird songs, and it's a gift, and you learn it, and you hopefully can pass that on to the younger people so that they can have pride.
I know a lot of kids today are lost because they don't know who they are. They don't have a foundation. They don't have that cultural reference or spiritual reference or spiritual guiding.
I mean, it's like when they come for gatherings, it's just social. That's the best thing, is when you're social dancing, it like brings out a different person. As to when you're competing, it gets pretty vicious out there.
Kind of the politics in it, because you get some people that don't like you, some people that do like you. We should just all have fun and do it.
In a right way, in a good heart, in a good mind. That's how I want it to be carried on. Like no fighting, no bickering, between people, and everybody, this is a peaceful thing, this is a good thing, and that's how I want it to be carried on.
That it's intertribal, but I would still like to see the different tribes dance their own styles. Because I know right now it's just kind of like I've seen a mixture of all styles put together, and I would really like to see it broken up.
Men are the main ones who will carry our songs on, because they say it's the women, but I say it's the men, because if they don't have the songs to sing for the women, then how are the women going to dance? What are they going to dance to?
Bird community is very small, and it's very easy to slip into another culture like the powwow culture.
They say if you're going to be a singer and you're handed a gourd, if you can't do it, then it's not meant. You have to be taught. That's an extra step, and it's good for you as a person to get out there to try to learn. But there's the natural people who have it in them, that it's given to them to sing and carry it on.
By what you feel, the good, in your heart. And that's what I feel it is, and that's what the songs, for me, it's just like all the goodness, from our people.
I have a daughter, and I need to help her, so she knows what to do for the next generation.
When we opened up the powwow, all the little girls, they're only 2, 3, and 4 years old, and they were just hopping hard. I've never seen them dance so hard, and my little niece, it was like her first time dancing at the powwow, and I just wanted to cry, it was so cute.
Hold on to your traditions and don't let that go, because that's always what's going to save you. It's going to be your rope in life. That's what you're going to have to fall back on.
Any male dancer can step out of line and move in front of the group to dance, and may often be joined by other dancers. The dancers mimic movements of birds in the natural world. The dancer's steps stomp up the dust like a bird taking a dust bath. His arms outstretched like a bird's wing, protecting his area and rattle.
And it's got to come from your heart, because if you don't, it's to come from your heart, then it's just something that you're just learning. It's not, this is because I want to continue doing this, then that's when it's coming from your heart. And not, just saying, well, I want to be a bird singer or a bird dancer.
I'm just trying to do the thing that just inspires people, motivates people, And part of that is singing and dancing to the best of your ability, giving you a way to get those moments that, we all look for, that time in heaven, where that moment where time just stops and, the good times just seem like they're never going to end.
Togetherness, there's some people that you don't even know, and they're from other reservations that sing songs, but when you're all together, and it's a sense that it really warms the heart and can make you, I don't know, a good feeling, can make you want to start crying tears of just happiness. Not sad though, but just it's a sense of it's a real overwhelming experience.
My mom she's originally from Santa Rosa, up the mountains, and my dad was from the desert down here. And my aunt and my mom were gonna sell food down here at the dance, for the dance. So they would come and we would sit out there and watch them dance, and it was, like for celebrating Christmas then. And then when we went to bed, they sent us to bed. But there was a window right there so we could see out and we could watch them dance, and they'd dance all night long, until sunup, and then they'd go home, get something to eat.
I remember there was only older men. There wasn't really that many young people singing, and now there's always all these young people, and I think they're starting to get into it more because while they just see people, they're really starting to notice.
The heart is everything, when we talk about, the human spirit. And when you do something from the heart, you're doing it from deep down inside your soul, selflessly. And to me, that's what from the heart means, is that you do things your best of your ability, selflessly.
It's just the younger men that are trying to continue it, and I think that's great. I really think that's good. I know my uncle would be really proud of them now. They should be proud of themselves that they know and, are learning more of the songs and trying to keep it going.
When I first heard about Bird, I thought it'd be really cool to do, because I knew my grandfather, my great-grandfather was the last ceremonial singer, Joe Potencio. So I knew we had a connection to the Bird songs, but I also knew that a lot of people in my family no longer did it, because once the big house burnt down, a lot of people just kind of stopped a lot of that. And great-grandfather would wake up singing, and he would go to bed singing. That was his every day, that was his life. He would sing it in order. It's different than today, but it's also, things have changed. And I think it's just awesome that a lot of people still do it. I think the friendships I gained from it is so important. When you go to other tribal events, you have something all in common. They might dance a little different, like TM does the side to side. Samoa is pretty much like us. They go up and back and forth. But it actually is harder than it looks, because it looks like a simple walk, but if you're out of sync, that line looks thrown off. And this is one of the capes, the first cape you put on, and this is the second cape. And actually she worked with me. She taught me how to make this cape. It took a long time of beating.
That's a funny thing about this place, Andreas Ranch, is everybody has a great story of this place.
everybody, you know, remembers like, oh yeah, they were, you know, everybody was singing in the birdhouse and everybody was together and, you know, just kind of hanging out. And, you know, growing up, I didn't realize, you know, just how big of a deal that would be. Because, you know, now everything that you go and sing for is attached to a casino. You know, there was the ranch, and then, you know, someone would put something together at their house, you know, or, you know, somebody was having like a barbecue, a get together, that kind of thing. You know, and when things were here, everybody was together. Really good memory. Because there used to be a lot of kids around and everybody was kind of playing, and, you know, there used to be a lot of people there. I mean, it's not really like that anymore.
My favorite memory was here at the Andreas Ranch. Mike Morales and Wayne Nelson and my grandfather, Anthony Andreas, were all singing here. And my grandpa sang a song that I grew up listening to. I don't remember what song it was, but it was the first time I had danced. I got up with a couple of my cousins and then I danced. And then even till this day, I still remember that. I think I was about 7.
Singing from the heart is having fun with it, and don't try so hard when you do it, and don't be scared to try, because everyone else is doing it and there's really no wrong way.
Well, when I'm 60 years old, I'm hoping that I'll still be singing, but there's kind of a 50-50 chance of that. The positive side of the 50-50 chance would be that things change and go back to when I was younger, when I was like 7 or 8, and people were singing not for money, but just because they wanted to, from the heart. And the other chance, with the negative part, would be people getting worse, wanting more money, and singing for worse reasons than what they're singing for now.
I would probably be getting in trouble and probably using and probably just doing a bunch of other stuff that I shouldn't be doing. And it's like keeping me out of trouble, and I love doing it.
One of the main things that I've learned from Native and non-Native elders was that even if I think that I know everything, I really don't. And to always have an open mind, because with a closed mind, I'm not gonna learn any more than what I already know.
If you're gonna try it, really give it a shot. Don't look at this like it's going to, you know, make you somebody or bring something positive into your life, because, you know, the only way that really happens is if you really work at it and it becomes something, you know, a part of you. You know, these things just don't happen overnight. You can't just pick up a rattle and expect to be somebody.
As a singer and a dancer, I feel that my responsibilities are to stay sober, basically, because I see a lot of singers and dancers now that come to powwows drunk or under the influence, and kind of makes you feel like they're just singing and dancing to basically have a party before or after they do so, and I really don't like that.
I think the majority of the people that I was around when I was younger and growing up, you know, always kind of talked about these things as ever evolving. And that's kind of how I look at everything now. You know, I understand a lot of these things need to change. They need to fit our lives. Everybody's different now. We can't do these things the way that they were done before. You know, it's not to say that we need to forget all those things. It just means that some of these things just kind of need to adapt, and I know some people won't like that.
Native Indians within this southwest corner, we're all in the same boat. Let's get together and have a big celebration. Let's sing and dance.
It's always there. All you're doing is you're hurting yourself when you say the bird's gone, because you know, it's there. It's always going to be there. It's going to go nowhere.
And I think they should just continue singing no matter what, you know. And I think that it'll make the songs last longer, and I would be, sad for that not to happen.
You're not going to get everyone's support, but, just keep going. If you really feel it in your heart, just keep going, and they'll come around.
Come on out and participate. Don't be ashamed, because everyone's made mistakes along the way on dancing, and all it takes is for you to come out to show who you are and be proud.
You're being an example to other children, and you're being an example to the people. And that's, one of the main things is to be clean and pure, away from alcohol, drugs.
Learn what you're doing, before you do it, and, ask questions, and don't be scared, and get up there and dance.
Everybody's singing and coming together and dancing, and we should have more of that. And that's what keeps everybody together, keeps our songs alive.
My whole being of being a bird dancer, dancing to the birds, it's affected my whole being. When you're out there and you're dancing, man, you just feel it. You can just feel that music within you.
My spirit will live as long as those songs live. My spirit will always return and be here with you, and you'll hear the same words that I'm telling you now, is to do what you're supposed to do. Live a good life. Walk that straight road, and when it's time for you to go home, you'll know which road to take. Rudy Clark, Wallapai Tribe, Chloride Band.
My name is Geronimo Holmes. I'm a Cahuilla from Morongo, and Degueño from Mesa Grande.
James Coro from the Homoa Indian Village of the Kumeyaay Nation.
I'm Donna Stanley, Mojave, Chemehuevi, Colorado River Indian Reservation.
My name is Frances Dorado. My maiden name is Holmes. I'm Wanakiktam Cahuilla from Morongo.
My name is Jessica Gonzalez Norty. I am Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians. I'm Coyote Clan.
My name is Nathaniel Dick. I'm from Park, Arizona, Colorado River Indian Tribes. I am Mojave, Hopi, and Quetzan.
My name is Ivan Bender, Wallapai Tribe, full blood.
My name is Desmond Sobel. I'm from the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians.
Goldie Russell Havatone. I'm Yavapai Apache Wallapai.
My name is Ernie Enos, Mojave, Hopi, and Chemehuevi.
My name is Edwin Ward. I'm from the Torres Martinez Desert Cahuilla.
My name is Elizabeth Perez. I'm a Cahuilla Indian from the Morongo tribe. I was born and raised here in Morongo.
My name is Troy Townsend. I'm Mojave and Quetzan, and I'm from Colorado River Indian Tribes.
Ali Ugapo from Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians.
My name is Dominique Lombardia. I'm from the Morongo Reservation. I'm Cahuilla Indian, and I recently live in Cherry Valley, California.
My name is Jelena Perez, and I am also from Morongo, and I am Cahuilla Indian.
Stevens Welsh, and I'm Mojave.
My name is Mike Morales, Desert Cahuilla from Torres Martinez.
My name is CJ Martin. I'm from Colorado River Indian Tribes, Park, Arizona. I'm Mojave and Chemehuevi.
Yes, I'm Helen Jose. I'm from Torres Martinez, Desert Cahuilla Indian Tribe.